Hello everybody. Today's video is pretty random, but I was kind of just like, why not just give it a try? Basically, I don't play competitive Pokemon, and I just wanted to give my opinions about competitive Pokemon regarding the recent Scarlet and Violet Pokemon. That probably wasn't so clear. Basically, there are new Pokemon being revealed. The latest ones are like Armarouge and Ceruledge and Klawf and whatnot, and I just kind of want to give my opinions on all of the what I assume to be the fully evolved forms and sort of just give my non-competitive mindset of competitive on these Pokemon. I'm not making much sense, so let's just get started. So just a reminder, everything I'm saying in this video is wrong. Just assume that. I'm not actually saying everything I'm saying is wrong, I'm just saying that it is all going to be wrong because I don't play competitive. I mean, I've dabbled in it, but like nothing, So first we have Klawf, and I don't think it's gonna show up anytime in a World Championships, but I assume that during the beginning of a season, people just want to try out as many ideas as they have with the Pokemon. Again, these are just based on my own educated guesses, so a lot of these things I'm saying is probably wrong. I'm just going on my own basis. But basically, Klawf has this new ability, which is Anger Shell. And Klawf's Anger Shell ability is making its first appearance, and when Klawf's HP drops to half or less, the Pokemon gets angry. This lowers its defense and special defense stats, but boosts its attack and and it boosts its attack, special attack, and speed stats. Now, my question is, will this number one go to other Pokemon? But with that out of the way, let's not focus on that. Let's focus on Klawf here. Klawf with this ability, I think, could be useful. Again, we don't really know the stats and its moveset and everything, but just, again, using my own judgment and my own educated guesses, I feel like something that could be tried out is to give Klawf a defensive terrestrialized typing. For example, catching a fairy-type Klawf, a fairy-type terrestrialized able Klawf, which is a pretty defensive typing. As you can see, it only really has 2 weaknesses, and it's pretty much neutral for the most part, and still has a fully resistant and a not very effective. Water could also perhaps, but I think Fairy is perhaps just better as a defensive typing. And if it changes to a defensive typing, that means its defense and special defense stats that gets lowered probably won't be as bad as if it were to still be a rock type, which, as you probably already know without me even showing it to you, okay, here it is. It has a lot of weaknesses. So to have a lot of weaknesses and then also get a stat lowering effect, that's not the greatest. But to have a defensive typing could perhaps be able to last longer. So I think that's something that, depending on its stats, it could be tested, I feel. And then with its attack and special attack and speed stats raised, could perhaps get a hit in even faster than, let's say, the opponent Pokemon, and then let's say it could survive 1 attack, and let's say it could survive 2 attacks, and then the next turn it could go again first, and then get in the hit. Whatever, you got my point. But perhaps the speed stat, we don't really know how dramatic these things are, and I doubt Klawf is really the fastest Pokemon. I mean, it's like a crab. I think they're pretty fast. I don't know what other crab Pokemon stats are, but yeah, I think it could be used somewhat, at least tested. Again, doubt it'll show up at any World Championship anytime soon, but I think it has the potential. A Grafaiai, I feel, is it'll probably have an evolution, but I mean, let's see anyways. So first, it's the first poison and normal type, which, let's see, poison normal, so I don't have to think about this. So it's fully resistant to ghost, takes half from, okay, fairy, that's definitely very useful as a poison type to take half from fairy. The rest I'm not so sure, I don't really, bug doesn't really matter, poison I don't think really matters either, grass could, I guess, sometimes matter. Ground is very common in competitive, I think, and psychic is more for trick room teams, I feel, but I think it still makes its appearances. Defensively, it's basically, it seems pretty average. The fairy is very good, but the ground I think is pretty bad. But either way, it's not like it then takes also from water and dragon and other common types, you know? So I think it's pretty balanced, the way it looks to me at least. Again, this probably won't be the fully evolved form. Maybe, I think it might just be a single stage, to be honest. And so it might perhaps be used as a support Pokemon. I really doubt its stats really amount to anything. So, like, I'm not even considering its usage. Then we have Cyclizar. This is an interesting one because we don't really know if it'll evolve into Koraidon or Miraidon. But since we actually saw it revealed in the competitive trailer, I have a feeling that it won't probably. And we saw it at level 50 as well. I have a feeling it'll have pretty okay stats. Like, again, it wouldn't really make any waves through competitive, but like, if a casual wants to try it out in competitive, it could perhaps still be useful, if that makes sense. Like, if they just want to go online, do some competitive battles, I'm sure like it could probably work. It also has the new substitute thing. It could probably work very well as with that new substitute move. I forgot what it's called, but either way, I think that would probably actually be pretty useful, and I think it could, again, just see some testing with that new move. It's also a dragon and normal type. Does that, like, what does that entail? So it takes 0 from Ghost. Yeah, no, I think it's pretty bad typing wise. I mean, Fire, Water, and Grass, and even Electric. These are actually pretty good types to take half from, actually. And then there's like Ground, which, you know, is pretty common. That it only takes, that it's just normal. But then you have Dragon and Fairy, which is very common. So, I don't know. Seems pretty average, I guess. But let's then go to Armarouge. Let's keep Ceruledge for last because I'm just gonna be honest, I like it more. I mean, I like both of them actually a lot, and yeah. But let's see. So number 1, it is a fire and psychic type. Let's see what that entails. Fire and psychic. Okay. So it seems very spread out evenly. So let's see. So it takes a lot of super effective hits though. That is something to take note of. Ground, which again is common. Rock, like Groudon, I doubt it's gonna go anywhere soon, so yeah. Again, with terrestrialization, the typing, all these things could be pretty much nullified, but then that nullification will be countered, and then that counter to the nullification will be countered, and it'll just go on forever, so we have that. Water is also pretty common. Dark is normally more supportive, but it does have, like for example, Grimmsnarl is more supportive, but it does have attacking moves, let's say, so it takes super effective from a lot of common types. It's normal, like just general effectiveness. It's normal, I forgot the word, but it takes neutral effectiveness from. Only one that I see making an impact is Dragon, but Dragon hits neutral for most, I guess, anyways. A Fairy is probably useful. Grass is probably useful. Fire, I guess, could maybe be useful. I wouldn't say it has the best typing from the looks of it. It's a shame. It has a new move, which is Armor Cannon, and this lowers its defense and special defense in exchange for power, which I guess is just special attack, I guess, assuming this is a special move. So, I mean, it could probably perhaps be a glass cannon. I mean, what would be an equivalent? I'm like just imagining like fire breaking glass. I can't really think of any words that can describe it though. But yeah, I guess it's a armor cannon. Yeah, let's just go with that. I guess it's an armor cannon. Wait, since it has armor, does that mean it has a good defense stat? Does that mean, let's say it could still tank a lot of these super effective moves? Perhaps. Because it does have armor. It's literally in the name of its move, as well as its literal name. So perhaps it does have a good defense stat. So that could definitely be useful. So again, I think it could definitely be tested out. I'm thinking, let's say it changes types. Let's say, really, I feel like Fairy is probably going to be the most common terrestrialized type in the very beginning, because like it definitely has the most uses, like just like offensively it's pretty decent, and then defensively it's also really good. Poison and steel are like not common at all, and then it takes nothing from dragon, which is really common, and then like basically all the other common types it takes neutral. So fairy is definitely like basically competitive players that I know, at the very least competitive players like consider it to be the best typing, and like just broken. So I assume that a lot of Pokemon will probably terrestrialize into that in the very beginning of the format, if I had to make a guess, until they all find their place. But I can't really think of, since we don't really know its stats, it's really hard to predict what Armarouge could really do. But let's say it has a good defense stat, and then it lowers each time you use this really strong, oh yeah, it is a special move. And it rises its special attack every time it uses this move, but sorry, it doesn't raise its special attack. I think I may have said that earlier. No, it just lowers its defense and special defense, but it's a really powerful move apparently, so it'll probably just be like a really actually no, it could definitely be like almost a Pokemon that can last a bit. So basically, I can imagine if it has a good defense stat, I can imagine it using like 1 or 2 support moves and then just finishing it off with armor cannon before eventually going out. I can imagine such a strategy being employed where it uses its good defense, if it has good defense and special defense, in the very beginning, and then once it's in range of, and then right before it's in range of being taken out, it uses armor cannon, which will do a lot of damage. So I can see it being used. I think. I think it may actually have a place if that would be the case, perhaps. Fire and Ghost. So, for Ceruledge, we have... Why can't I find fire? Here we go. I'm like right over it. Ghost. Okay. So number 1, it doesn't take anything from normal and fighting. I wouldn't really say that really does much. Then it takes very little effectiveness, 1/4 of bug, 1/4 of... But it takes a lot from ground. A lot of them are weak to ground, like the fire typing here. Water, also pretty common. Ghost, I would say. Rock, dark. I would say these are very bad typings to take damage from. Flying, electric, psychic, dragon. Except dragon, I wouldn't really say I remember any of these really being used commonly in competitive, except electric, like with Regieleki and some others. But it's really good that it doesn't take much damage from fairy. Yeah, so I'd say the moves that don't really do much effectiveness to it are pretty good, but its weaknesses are pretty bad, it seems. So Bitter Blade. So it's an absorbing mood. Absorbing move. Okay. Look at my English. I can imagine it. So these type of absorbing moves I don't really see much in competitive, or like at all. I've never actually seen it in competitive, I don't think. It's normally just do the most damage as you can, but I mean, perhaps it could be useful depending just again on its stats. Okay, so the user's HP is restored by up to half the damage taken by the target. So, okay, I don't really think it'll be useful. It's a fire physical move. I don't really think it'll be useful. I'm trying to think. I don't really know stat really well, so I don't know what, like, let's say grass types. Do they have a good special defense, or do they have a good defense generally? I'm not really sure. But either way, I feel like it doesn't seem like it'll be useful. Something just tells me that. It looks really cool, but unless it has like great stats, and like maybe these move, like maybe this does like 100 or so damage, then maybe these things could actually be useful somewhat, but from the looks of it, probably not. But again, these Pokemon could possibly be like, what's it called? 600 stats, is the number 600? Like where it totals, Pseudo-legendaries. There we go. Pseudo-legendary. Could be one of those type. They probably are taking up that role, Armarouge and Ceruledge, of like these pseudo-legendaries. They probably have, if I had to guess, a total of 600 for their base stats. So you know what? They probably will be used, if I had to assume. I just don't know. I just feel like they'll be a pretty big gamble, if I had to guess. Again, these are just guesses from a person who doesn't play competitive. Last but not least, Cetitan. Now, Cetitan is interesting because when it first got revealed, we had no idea about terastallization. It was predicted that we would get a type-changing gimmick, but like there was no definitive proof. So the ice type was very concerning, as ice types are very bad competitively. You can see rock, ghost, steel, fire, dark, neutral from fairy, dragon, water, grass, ground. It doesn't really matter. The fighting in normal for the most part, and poison, bug, and ice are maybe like not at all offensive types. So yeah, there isn't really much it can do, and they are known to be very much like glass cannons. But then it also has the two abilities Thick Fat and Slush Rush. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Thick Fat reduces the damage of fire type moves by half, which if that's the case, I could definitely be wrong. I think I just read that on a summary. But what's it called? If that is the case, if it terastallizes into another type, let's see, fire. If it changes, let's say maybe into, let's say like even fairy, or I mean even grass, preferably a type that someone would be tempted to use a fire type move, I guess, or just whatever's the common offensive moves during that time in competitive, during that meta. I would say Thick Fat could perhaps be useful if like fire types are common and the defensive types, and like they are commonly used against such types of Pokemon. Then it also has Slush Rush. Slush Rush, okay. So basically, if I'm not mistaken, this increases its speed in a blizzard. If it can change its type while having, like this could be a snow team where another Pokemon sets up snow warning or something, or perhaps it just, you're willing to take the risk with blizzard. Either way, that could, I think, if it could change its type, this could almost like be almost kind of like broken, I feel. I feel like if Dracovish were like to, let's say, get added and change its type, I feel like it could get really broken. To have like a defensive typing with that high speed stat and also like a good attacking stat, but like you're also defensive because of the type you have. I think things could get really hectic with that. Again, I don't play competitive. I could be making a really big error with what I'm saying here, but that's what it seems to me. So let me know what you guys think about my analysis. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, because I'm, again, not a competitive player. I don't really know much about it. I know very basic knowledge of it. So yeah, let me guys know what you think about my analysis. Tell me what you guys think about these Pokemon competitively, and how do you think terastallizing will affect competitive Pokemon in general, because I'm actually really excited to see how it will affect Pokemon. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and see you next time. Bye!